inside, there is an ability for you to power yourself with bliss, prana, and energies that you're generating wholly from the pleasure that you're having with you being in love with the reality. But when you're pissed off, and that's why it doesn't matter. If you get mad about something, if you're angry, it doesn't even matter. Like, even if it's whatever's fault that you think it is, you're vibrating something that nothing on the high end of abundance is going to be around. It's not a want to be around. It's laws of resonance. So if you're feeling great, you got a smile on your face. Even if, like I said, you got to start pushing into your own consciousness and saying, you know what, man, it's just get on with it already. Like, you're always mad and upset. Like, look at yourself. Look at yourself sometimes. Like, think about, are you mad and upset and always want to fight all the time and always want to argue? I don't believe that. That's not real. That's not true. I hate this. I hate them. Why is this happening? So it doesn't really matter what's really going on in there, Doc. You're dark. And that's the sleight of hand. That's the forked tongue. That's how easy it can really be to convert a being that otherwise would be like some kind of light being and accelerating into a vast state of consciousness into just a foundation or a footstool that we stand on, because there's nothing that is powerful about that. It's just all about being just dense in those stages, and that's holding things up, and that has a use. And that's what one of the most important things to realize about all this. You're not going to change darkness and remove it from the world. What you can do is work to keep it in equal measure to the light by creating that within yourself and doing big things. Like right now, we have some big imbalances happening because some big things are opening up to happen too. But because this is a real-time framework, and you have architects, magicians, savants, you name it, all working in this framework, it's really also about the most harmonic consciousness, the one that really has their 6 and their 5, their angel and their demon, or their light and their dark, their reptile and their mammal, really working together and actually on point, will see the greatest level of acceleration versus any other beings who have not actually opened up those components within themselves, because they are locked. There is a real intention by this society and by these all-pervading spiritual systems that we're seeing. We're living on this. So don't stick your head in the ground like an ostrich. The reason why we're even here talking about this is the holy knowledge has been virtually stripped from the youth. And here we are back again, basically de-demonizing our own energetic system, because these people have you believing at times that these symbols belong to the Illuminati and that these symbols are all about evil cults and this was the worshiping the sacrifice of the children and blah, blah, blah. When all those symbols mean is that, yeah, once you come into adepthood, your child is sacrificed for sure. Because as it says, when I was a child, I did childish things. But when I became an adept, I put childish things away. What is this talking about? What this is talking about is this is talking about, for those who are proposed masters and professed masters, that, see, as a child, the child has fun, okay? The child's excited. The child's surprised. Things are always new to the child, right? Think about what I'm saying. Like, so there's a certain part of the child aspect that's great. It's amazing. But it's different than the adept. Okay? Now, the adept may know how to tap back into the child side of themselves, but the adept has transcended the surprise and transcended the entertainment and transcended all of that and come into the final essence. The thickest essence, the thickest ether. Do you know what the thickest ether is by word? It's called serious. Okay? Serious. Because, see, all that playing around that many are doing, because they're like, you're remote controlling your life. You're being, in this whole system and letting them tell you what you are and acting confused. And now you're reprobate mind. And now you all this. And so when all that's going on, it leaves one the inability to actually tap into who they truly are. And who they truly are, it unlocks a very serious kind of scenario at first, especially. Because when you haven't been dealing with the truth and all of a sudden you're confronted with it, something's got to switch about how you're actually perceiving things for that moment. We call that it gets serious. So all the little play, like you sometimes doing with the childish behavior, I don't want that, I want that. All the little play, when you take too many of the dosage, or when you drink too many of the glasses, or when you say certain words, all the play goes away and it gets very serious. And that's the realm of the adept. So this year, 2019, is a time for us to get very serious. There's been a lot of playing because the society, as we know, the educational system has kept everyone in a childlike phase and only woken you up to your adulthood like all at once. That's what these Me Too movements and all this stuff is really about. See, these are great initiations. The reason why, meaning that their great initiation means that it's taking place with a lot of people at one time. They're initiations into something. So if you notice that initiations, especially some of the hazing initiations, always contain the components of the leader doing something to the new initiate that becomes humiliating to the new initiate, but also brings a common place or a camaraderie amongst all of those initiates. Okay. So in this recent session, why a lot of people don't, or a lot of beings don't want to speak about it, there has been older beings, if you may, that have come into this younger planet and have done things that would equate to molestation to the planet for their own reasons and their own selfishness. Okay. So when that happens, that's like a planetary hazing. Okay. Because now there's a large group of the beings that have had something happen to them that is very embarrassing. And in that process, because when that happens to them, the one that conducts all that, it becomes like their leader for a while, like their abuser. You could watch this in psychology, but this has happened on a planetary level. So it becomes their leader. And until they confront it, can they ever really break out of it? And that's how secret societies really work. Like they have, like, let's say, for instance, the common action, and Chappelle was talking about this, is that when men join these secret societies, they drug them, and then the leader sexually sodomizes them. And when they come back to, they're shown what happened. And it becomes very embarrassing for them. But then they find out that it happened to everybody. And that becomes their secret. But while the leader, who is basically a demon, is walking around, basically using that as a form of control and a form of guilt within those that are in that society, okay? So then when you say, well, what is a mass ritual? Or well, what a mass ritual would be is somehow a lot of children being put into a situation where in some way or another that they either were mentally, spiritually, or physically molested. So they would have that as they would have that as their component, but until they confront, and that's why we confronted God, the old dog face, 10 years ago, until you confront that, then everything is going to be under that. And that's why they call it the Lord, because it's the lowest star, but everybody is worshiping the Lord. So everyone is worshiping the lowest thing. They're told, you're debased, you're a wretch. And this is not just church, okay? This is like, if you look into any system, this could be Churchill. This could be Marxism. This could be any of the systems that actually teach in this same kind of structure of duality and in this same kind of a structure of lack of respect for the divine feminine and masculine components and how they blend together to create pleasure, to create passion, to create the things that really drive us forward, not the things that actually bring death and the things that pull us into the vacuum and the things that hold us back. So with that being said, I'm just going to glance through here one more time just to see if I missed anyone that had that question out front. And I'm sure you get the point in relation to exactly how to conduct your energy through this process of, especially 2019. This is so serious because the reason why a lot of this stuff also lines up numerically, it starts lining up based on the days and then the lunar cycles. And it's because we're getting to 12 o'clock. Like I told everybody, that's 2020. So you're going to actually see these archetypes, these planetary systems, these chakras. We're going to see those actions in your life. You're going to see those people come around.